The disappearance of Amelia Earhart has long been shrouded in mystery. But what if it was actually a massive cover-up? After nearly a century, a search team claims to have found her missing plane. But there are discrepancies that raise questions. Could it be that the public has been misled for almost 90 years? In an upcoming video, we will delve into the unusual clues, concealed reports, and influential entities that may have concealed the truth. Stay tuned, as the information you're about to hear has the potential to alter our understanding of this historical event. In 1928, Amelia Earhart gained global fame as the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, sparking widespread admiration and being hailed as a pioneer. Despite the public acclaim, Amelia expressed feeling like she was merely baggage and not deserving of the heroic status attributed to her. She was thrust into a whirlwind of publicity orchestrated by her soon-to-be husband George Putnam, who shaped her image as Lady Lindy and the female counterpart to Charles Lindbergh. However, behind the scenes, Amelia grappled with a sense of unworthiness despite the public adoration. While she went along with the publicity, she also pursued her own ambitions, participating in lectures, featuring in advertisements, and writing a book. A pivotal moment arose when she secured a deal with McCall's magazine, but the associated income was insufficient for her plans, leading to her approval of Putnam selling her image to Lucky Strike cigarettes. This decision caused a backlash, resulting in McCall's magazine withdrawing a major feature due to the incongruity of a respected woman endorsing tobacco. Amelia Earhart wanted to use the money she was receiving to finance an expedition to the South Pole for Richard Evelyn Byrd. Her goal was to maintain a prominent presence in the aviation community, as she was determined to transition from being a passenger to being a pilot. She made a personal commitment to herself to become the first woman to accomplish remarkable feats in aviation. This commitment led her to embark on several solo flights, and shortly after being dubbed Lady Lindy by the media, she took to the skies alone, marking the beginning of an unstoppable journey. In August 1928, Amelia Earhart achieved a historic milestone by completing a solo flight across North America and back, solidifying her place in aviation history on her own terms. Despite the absence of co-pilots, her unwavering determination propelled her forward, and she continued to hone her skills, earning recognition from top aviators who recognized her innate talent for flying. The ultimate test came in 1929, when Amelia participated in the first-ever Women's Air Derby, a challenging race from California to Ohio, also known as the Powder Puff Derby. The race presented numerous obstacles, including engine failures, crashes, and incidents such as Amelia's friend Ruth Nichols flipping her plane on the tarmac after colliding with a tractor. Despite these challenges, Amelia persevered and secured a remarkable third-place finish in the heavy plane division, signaling a significant triumph and solidifying her reputation as one of the premier aviators of her time. Amelia viewed her success not only as a personal achievement, but also as a means of paving the way for women in aviation. Following the Women's Air Derby, she took initiative by reaching out to her fellow female pilots and establishing the 90s, an organization aimed at providing support and advocating for the involvement of women in aviation. Assuming the role of the organization's first president in 1930, Amelia's efforts in championing female aviators marked just the initial step in her dedicated advocacy for women in the field of aviation. Amelia Earhart's flying ability, her publicity campaign with her partner, Hart, her support of Richard, and her other contributions to flying propelled her beyond celebrity status to become a living legend. Women looked up to her for fashion items she sold, aspiring to wear her dresses and emulate her style. Various businesses sought to collaborate with her and use her initials, AE, as a powerful symbol. Amelia remained focused on her passion for flying, promoting aviation and the capabilities of women aviators, as well as advocating for women to embrace flying as a mode of transportation. Her position as associate editor at Cosmopolitan was utilized to advocate for the acceptance of aviation and to support women aspiring to be pilots. In 1929, her efforts at Cosmopolitan led to her appointment by Transcontinental Air Transport to promote air travel for women. Following that, Luddington Airline enlisted her to assist in establishing the first regional shuttle service between New York and Washington, D.C. Her expertise was in high demand, leading to her appointment as Vice President of National Airways. Amelia's influence in the aviation industry continued to expand, culminating in her official role in the National Aeronautic Association in 1930, advocating for a special category for women's speed and altitude records. She also played a pivotal role in persuading the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale to recognize female records on a global scale, while simultaneously setting those records herself. In 1931, she achieved a world altitude record of 18,415 feet in a Pitcairn autogyro, a unique aircraft that combined elements of a helicopter and an airplane, despite it being on loan from a chewing gum company. Amelia's marriage to her publicist, George Putnam, in 1931, challenged traditional norms, as it was a calculated marriage of convenience rather than a union based on romantic love. Her refusal to conform to societal expectations was evident in her setting of specific rules for the marriage, emphasizing her unwillingness to be confined or constrained. She chose to retain her own name and handed her husband a letter on the wedding morning outlining her terms, expressing her reluctance to be confined in even an appealing cage. When the press attempted to address her as Mrs. Putnam, Amelia simply laughed. On the other hand, George quickly realized that he would be known publicly as Mr. Earhart, as Putnam was not only her husband, but also her manager, publicist, and the force behind many of her endorsement deals, giving him knowledge of her earnings. Some critics argue that, while others saw a pioneering woman reaching for new heights, George saw dollar signs. Amelia made it clear to her husband that she did not want him as her business partner, but George was determined not to let go easily, so he waited. This leads to the question: when Amelia disappeared during her final flight around the world, was it simply an aviation tragedy, or was something more sinister and intentional happening behind the scenes? Amelia's aspiration was not to become a wife, but to achieve the goal she had been pursuing since her famous flight across the Atlantic in 1932. On May 20th, 1932, Amelia embarked on her solo non-stop flight across the Atlantic to Paris, mirroring Lindbergh's historic achievement 5 years earlier, with the determination to be known as Amelia Earhart, not as Lady Lindy. Despite facing freezing winds, mechanical failures, and darkness, Amelia flew for 14 hours and 56 minutes, eventually landing in Northern Ireland due to the mechanical issues. Her remarkable landing was witnessed by Cecil King and T. Sawyer, and when asked how far she had flown, she proudly replied, "From America," dispelling any doubts about her accomplishment. This flight made her the first woman to fly solo, non-stop, across the Atlantic, earning her the Distinguished Flying Cross, France's Legion of Honor, and the Gold Medal from the National Geographic Society. Even as she received accolades and fame, Amelia remained unsatisfied, with a new ambition stirring within her. Despite her new achievements and renewed fame, she continued to advocate vigorously for female pilots, refusing to fly screen actor Mary Pickford to Cleveland for the 1934 Bendix Trophy race, when women were barred from competing. In 1935, using a Lockheed 5C Vega, she became the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to California, a route that had claimed the lives of several pilots. Her success in this daring endeavor inspired her to fly solo from Los Angeles to Mexico City, and then from Mexico to New York. Amelia Earhart achieved numerous records and accomplishments in aviation, yet she was driven by a desire for more. She had already established herself as a fearless aviator with multiple aviation records, but her sights were set on a groundbreaking new challenge. Amelia's aspiration was to become the first woman to successfully fly around the world, covering the longest route of approximately 29,000 miles. In early 1936, she commenced planning for this ambitious journey despite its inherent risks. To support her endeavor, Purdue University established the Amelia Earhart Fund for Aeronautical Research and provided $50,000 for the purchase of a Lockheed Electra 10E airplane. Lockheed Aircraft Company constructed the airplane, equipping it with additional fuel tanks and extensive modifications to suit Amelia's needs. Choosing Harry Manning as her navigator and captain of the SS President Roosevelt, Amelia valued his expertise in Morse code, recognizing its crucial role in communication during flights. However, Manning's position faced scrutiny from Amelia's husband, George Putnam, due to an error made during a test flight. Despite this, Manning's proficiency and precision as a navigator were evident, as demonstrated in a challenging late-night flight with adverse conditions. The decision to question Manning's capabilities, despite his proven competence, raised questions about the motivations behind it. Hollywood stunt pilot Paul Mance, who co-owned a flying school business with Amelia, believed that Manning also needed to be replaced. However, Manning was the sole individual on the team who possessed a thorough understanding of Morse code, which was crucial for long-distance communication. As a result, what was initially intended as a two-person flight team evolved into a three-person team consisting of Amelia, Manning, and Noonan. On March 17, 1937, they embarked on the first world flight, flying from California to Hawaii. Unfortunately, they encountered a non-fatal crash during the journey, which resulted in significant damage to the plane's propellers. Subsequently, the plane was taken to the U.S. Navy's Luke Field facility at Pearl Harbor for servicing. After a 3-day hiatus, the flight resumed, but the plane experienced a catastrophic mid-run failure, including the collapse of the forward landing gear and damage to both propellers. Although the exact cause of the crash remained unknown, some witnesses at Luke Field, including an Associated Press journalist, reported seeing a tire blow. Amelia and some witnesses believed that a tire blowout was the cause, but her business partner, Mance, and others attributed the accident to her. The flying laboratory was severely damaged and had to be transported to Lockheed Burbank, California for extensive repairs. Mance's blame on Amelia sparked questions about whether she truly made a mistake or if it was an attempt to portray her as careless. After the plane was repaired by Lockheed, only two individuals, Amelia and Noonan, remained to continue the journey, as Manning chose to quit. This posed a new challenge, as Amelia struggled to comprehend the new communication system installed in the plane by Lockheed, a system Manning would have easily understood. By June 29, 1937, navigator Fred Noonan and Amelia had covered over 22,000 miles, crossing South America, Africa, the Indian Ocean, and Southeast Asia. Their arrival in Lille, New Guinea, marked the final stretch of their journey, with only a 7,000-mile trip across the Pacific remaining. Despite overcoming numerous challenges, including the most arduous parts of their expedition, Amelia's journey was not yet complete. Her plan involved landing on Howland Island to refuel, with the United States Coast Guard's support awaiting her, prompting the dispatch of the cutter Itasca to the island in her aid. On July 2nd, Amelia encountered unexpected communication problems while giving routine reports to the Itasca. Itasca was unable to connect with the frequency of Amelia's plane, and she lacked the necessary knowledge to make the required changes. Despite her efforts to send transmission for guidance, the connection couldn't be established. Resorting to Morse code, Itasca attempted to communicate, but Amelia struggled to effectively understand and use Morse code. Seeking voice transmissions instead, Amelia's request was not fulfilled, as Itasca persisted with Morse code, resulting in unsuccessful communication. As she circled nearby in need of a heading to find the island, the entire communication system failed her, leading to a critical moment of silence. Despite accounts suggesting that the Electra may have passed within 50 to 100 miles of Howland Island, an official search was launched, covering thousands of square miles until July 19th. Unfortunately, the search yielded no wreckage, leaving behind only the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Following this, there were reports of distress calls and Morse code signals, but they remained inconsistent and unconfirmed, eventually getting overshadowed by hoaxes and confusion. In 1939, George Putnam sought legal declaration of Amelia's death and the waiver of the 7-year waiting period to manage her finances. This led to Amelia being declared legally dead on January 5, 1939, amid speculation and uncertainty about the events surrounding her disappearance. Speculations arose regarding Putnam's knowledge and the possibility of a cover-up by the United States due to claims of Amelia being a spy. Claims from locals in the Marshall Islands suggested sightings of the duo in Japanese custody, and a 2017 History Channel documentary potentially supported this claim. A black and white photo found in the U.S. National Archives depicts Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan alive, sitting on a dock in the Marshall Islands. In the photo, a Japanese ship can be seen towing what appears to be Earhart's Lockheed Electra. Some individuals accusing the United States of a cover-up suggest that this indicates Earhart and Noonan survived the crash and were captured, with support from locals in the Marshall Islands. The History Channel retracted a documentary on this topic, But the speculation regarding Earhart's potential involvement in a secret spy mission for the U.S. continues. Certain high-ranking military veterans have endorsed this theory, leading to ongoing debate about whether Earhart was a heroic pilot lost at sea or a covert operative abandoned by her own country. Nearly 90 years after the event, in 2024, a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer turned deep-sea explorer Tony Romeo made a significant revelation. Romeo sold his real estate empire to fund an $11 million expedition into the Pacific Ocean, aiming to locate Earhart's lost plane. Using advanced technology, Romeo's company, Deep Sea Vision, scanned over 5,000 square miles of the ocean floor near Howland Island, the location where Earhart was last heard from in 1937. During the expedition, a sonar image was captured, claimed to resemble a plane with two engines, a twin tail, and a silhouette matching the Lockheed 10E Electra in detail. Surprisingly, the plane was found over 5,000 meters below the surface, almost 100 meters off course and in an unexpected location. While Romeo is convinced of the discovery, experts remain skeptical, suggesting that the image could simply be a rock. Undeterred, Romeo and his team are already planning a return expedition to confirm whether this is indeed the final resting place of Amelia Earhart's aircraft.